Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. All right then, so what we're going to do today is take a look at a potential leak for the abilities of the Junker Queen hero. Now, she's heavily speculated to be a new hero in Overwatch 2. They even sort of leaked her in-game model in some of the stuff they put out a few years ago in BlizzCon Online, where in the background of one of the videos, you could see the Junker Queen sort of in a T-pose. So we expect her to be a hero, but she's been heavily thought to be a hero for a long time now, because of course, she's got a place in the Overwatch lore, obviously in Junkertown. She's the queen of Junkertown, in case you didn't guess, but interacting with Hammond, Junkrat, and Roadhog. There's like a whole sort of story going on there. She's part of, basically, like, I guess, the queen of the Junkers, because that's her name, isn't it? The Junker Queen. Let's move on. Anyway, so we're going to go through this leak. Now, remember, it's a leak. It could be fake. It could be whatever, right? But what leads me to believe this might be slightly legitimate is the source it comes from, and the fact that you guys can already see at the moment on the screen, the icons for the abilities look actually legitimate. So if it is a fake, it's a damn good fake, and someone's done a really good job. Anyway, let's get stuck into this. So it says the leak coming from Fefe, GG. He's the coach. He is the ex-coach of Paris Eternal and Toronto Defiant, currently working for Team Peps. He is not the one who is leaking it, but has heard it from what he considers a reliable source. And here is what is leaked. Okay, so what we do know is Overwatch League is playing the alpha of Overwatch. Now, whether it contains Junker Queen or whether they're doing testing for Junker Queen, who knows? But it kind of does give like a little bit of, I don't know, there's a little bit of something there, isn't it, with the leaks? You've got a ex-professional coach, so you would think they've got some sort of decent contacts, you know, like within Blizzard and around the game. We know the pros are playing Overwatch Alpha, Overwatch 2 Alpha, so maybe something's going on here. Anyway, yeah, it gives it a bit more credibility than just a random 4chan leak or a random like post on Reddit, I guess, right? Anyway, let's move on. So the first thing we've got is the scatter gun. Now, it says a sort of shotgun called the scatter gun. This may resemble the scout's weapon in Team Fortress 2. Okay, so kind of like a pump action shotgun, I guess. Maybe it'll just function like one of Reaper's shotguns, but fires a little bit slower with maybe less damage, because obviously you couldn't have a tank running around with Reaper's weapons. That would be stupid and absolutely broken. But the icon looks real, doesn't it? Like, I know this font doesn't look right. I mean, this, I don't know what's going on here, and the fact we've got like a little white box around the icon, but this might be early test document stuff that Blizzard have got when they put together heroes. Like maybe they make a little, I don't know, like a PDF or something, like a slideshow. It might be from that, who knows? But it looks real, doesn't it? That looks real to me. I don't know. Let's move on anyway. Oh, there is actually one little disclaimer. If you guys seen the video I put out the other day, which was on the UI potential leaks for Overwatch 2, the weapons look a lot cleaner. Like, so this icon wouldn't actually be an Overwatch 2 icon because it's too detailed. Now, that may disprove this and say, okay, this isn't real because obviously it's the older design. Or if we want to get super speculatory, it might actually be this hero was made years ago. And given the state of Overwatch, probably. You know what I mean? So maybe all this stuff was made years and years ago before they even got round to updating the UI. Who knows? Anyway, let's move on. So this is where it starts getting really funky. A sword-like melee weapon which has a bleeding effect on it every time it is used, dealing damage over time, and an ability where it acts like a boomerang. You throw it and you can call it back, booping an enemy that is on its way. Okay, now this is where things get a bit mental, because is this her melee attack, or is she literally dual wielding a shotgun and well, we know she's got an axe, shotgun and an axe? Is that how she plays? So is she like, is it alternate fire, swinging the axe, and it, or this like machete style weapon, and it causes bleed damage to people, but you can also throw it, and then she's got a shotgun as well? That seems a bit mental if that's true. I mean, that's never been a thing. There's no, well, I guess you could say Reaper's a dual wielding hero, but there's nothing like that in the game where you've got two weapons that are functioning differently. I mean, that is potentially really cool. And a bleed effect, like, again, we've not seen that in the game. I think, well, I guess you could, we've seen damage over time effect. So we've seen Torbjorn's slag when it's on the floor. If you stand in that, obviously it's a damage over time effect, but not a dot that's applied to you, so you hit and then you take damage as you run away. Actually, I guess Widowmine, right? So Widowmine's probably the only thing in the game, right, that does that. Oh, I'm really testing my knowledge here. I think it is, right, guys? Just Widowmine, that gives you damage over time? I think so. I don't think anything else does. Ooh. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say it's just Widowmine and Torbjorn Slag, but you have to stand in the Slag. But Widowmine would be the better example. Like, if this is a damage over time dot that applies when you get hit, it pretty much will be your hit and then you're applied with Widowmaker's dot, basically. I can't see this doing a lot of damage if she's a tank hero, because that would be ridiculous. But there is a passive that links into the bleed, which may be her tank sort of ups her tank ability. That we'll get onto that in a second before I start talking about it. You see what I mean, guys? This is actually a really cool idea. So even though it might be fake, it kind of does look real, doesn't it? It looks like it's a cool idea for a hero. Okay, next ability, a rallying call ability that buffs herself and allies. It gives her an additional 200 HP and her allies an additional 100 HP. It also gives a 30% speed buff, but it is unclear whether this is applied only to herself or also to allies. Now, again, the icon looks pretty legit to me, but this, I think, speed boost on tanks would be super good, right? If you put a speed boost on a tank, you could argue this is where they should be anyway, not even on like supports like they are on Lucio. Well, Lucio is the only one with a speed boost. But having the tank being able to boost forward and go in makes a bit more sense than the support, doesn't it? Because the tank is the one running in. You know what I mean? And we're in this 5v5 world where apparently tanks are more sort of brawlery based on what we've seen so far. So does this mean, well, if your tank can speed up and rush into the fight, will other tanks be able to do that? Is this going to be a tank-only thing? Will Lucio even keep his speed boost? I don't know. But to me, that sounds like it makes a lot of sense. And maybe it's been something Blizzard have been looking at for a while, trying to put, like, you know, a speed boost onto a tank. But we don't know whether this is just the tank that gets speed boosted or allies as well. What it also does, though, is gives her an additional 200 HP and apparently buffs the allies with 100 HP. So maybe this is her reactionary tank ability. Now, this might be a bit too good because imagine if you're taking a duel with, I don't know, you're a McCree and you're against, well, not a McCree, he's not a hero in the game anymore. You know what? I still do that, and I will always forever do that because I've had 7 years of calling that. A Cassidy, maybe he's trying to flashbang, I don't know, Tracer. No, let's say Genji, Tracer, whatever, it doesn't matter. Soldier is a better example. He's got more health. So you flashbang the Soldier, you shoot him in the head, and then suddenly Junker Queen pops this, and then he gets 100 HP back, and he's no longer going to be instantly killed, is he? If my maths add up. Maybe I'm a bit wrong there, but that's that could be really strong. But that would be a tanky ability, right? Giving health to people instead of using a barrier, which again plays into the whole narrative of Overwatch 2 having less barriers, right? And not being as barrier focused. And it's also 5v5. So tanks need another way of absorbing damage. So giving health does seem like a way of doing that, right? Cool stuff. Another ability, a Carnage ability that deals damage to all enemies in front of her with a bleeding effect. So damage over time. So this, I don't know, maybe it sprays out from the melee weapon, hits people, damage over time, bleed effect. Now this is why the bleed effect is so crucial with this hero concept. An adrenaline shot passive ability that heals all damage that is done through bleeding effect could be extended to fire damage, dynamite, or poison damage, venom mine too. Oh, dynamite, that's another damage over time ability in the game. There you go. I knew there was one. This could also be a conversion from bleeding damage into HP, as there seems to be a confusion over the translation. Now, the translation here, well, the icon gives it away, I guess, because it's a bleed, like a blood drop, but then there's a health cross in the middle of it. This looks like it's how she tanks or sustains taking damage. She's got regenerative health if she's applying bleed effects to people. So it seems to me that the way she functions is, if you're near her, she's going to hit you with a melee weapon and probably shotgun you as well, but hit you with a melee weapon. Maybe she throws the melee weapon at you because apparently it's a boomerang. I don't know whether that applies to bleed or not, but if it did, that's kind of funky. And then she can spray out in front of people or slash out with the weapon or whatever and applies bleed damage to people. And then her passive gives her health back based on how much bleed damage is happening. So this to me would be very similar to the way Doomfist passive works. So when Doomfist goes into a fight, obviously he gets more shields, doesn't he, the more people he engages. This would be similar to that. And this would take her down the route of more of a rushing in tank. And maybe this fits more the Overwatch 2 narrative of the 5v5. So you see what I mean, guys? It's kind of, when you start thinking about it, this does start adding up like, actually, is this is this legit? And if it isn't legit, maybe this person should be a hero designer. You know what I mean? It's so cool. Anyway, we've got the ultimate. Oh my God, we've got the ultimate. So let's get stuck into this thing. So Rampage is an ultimate where she charges in front of her, dealing anti-healing, like anti-nade it seems, to enemies, all the while healing herself. Now, this, again, looks like an icon, doesn't it? That looks like a whirlwind in the ultimate icon. But that, as far as we know, is the old look again of the hero UI thing, based off leaks that we've seen even. So maybe, again, this gives more credibility to this being a hero that came out or has been in the works for years. You know, I don't know why I keep doing this, but I'm like, ugh, ugh, ugh. Now, this would be, like, so think about this being combined with other stuff. Like, think about her using this, Rallying Call, speeds her up, gives her more health, she runs in, carnages everyone, and then pops Rampage, anti-heals everyone, and he's healing herself, spinning around the team, and everyone. This seems crazy. It also seems like a hell of a lot of abilities, but I think what I'm seeing in my head here is, if this is true, but this is such a cool concept. So you've got a shotgun and you've got a melee weapon. Your melee weapon, you can fire your shotgun, that's your primary fire. Your alternate fire would be slashing with the melee weapon. Or maybe it's just the melee attack in Overwatch, because obviously you've got a melee attack. Or maybe the melee attack is just the same as your alternate fire. Or maybe your alternate fire throws the boomerang. Right? But let's just roll with shotgun primary and then your melee weapon alternate fire. So swing that with your alternate fire, shotgun with a primary. You can throw it with maybe E, let's say. We'll keep the PC controls for the moment. And then you've got another ability. Maybe this is on your shift, Rallying Call, because it's your sort of speed up thing. And then you've got another ability, your Carnage. So I mean, there's a lot of abilities here. So it's like, hang on, we've got another ability. And then we've got the passive. So maybe, because we've got too many abilities here, we go into a phase of the melee weapon is literally when you melee with it. If you melee a target that is near you, you melee them. But if they're far away, it automatically throws them. Maybe the alternate fire is that, like, so they're combined together. I don't know. But I think, guys, this is definitely something for a conversation. It's a damn sight more interesting than recolored skins for a remixed event of the old things which have happened, which we've played for literally years. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not super hyped for that stuff. But I am hyped for this. I think, to be honest, I'm more hyped with what's going on towards the end of this month, when the beta becomes available and we finally get to play the game and we get to see what is going on and all that good stuff. And hopefully, I don't know, maybe we get to play the Junker Queen. Hopefully we get to play Sojourn. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I've been Stylosa. Thank you, as ever, for watching the video. I'm doing my best to keep you guys updated as we go into the sort of final stretch of finally waiting for new content. You know, it's been 3 years. So, yeah, stay strong, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. Toodaloo.